Hey guys, it's the Timster here. I'd like to introduce you to this new tutorial series I'm going to be doing, including explosions, fire, smoke, all that good stuff. Unfortunately though, this is a lot more of a meaty topic, and so it's quite in-depth. There's a lot more work to it, a lot more sort of bits and pieces, and I didn't want to sort of make one video and put like 10 download links for textures and stuff which you guys will need. So I thought it would be best if I just was to show you from start to finish how I made each different part of the video, from the grenade launcher to the grenade itself to the fire at the end, or even the big mushroom cloud. I just wanted to sort of go through all of that at once with you guys, so it wasn't just all over the place and you weren't quite sure how to use it again or make it again in your games. So this tutorial series will span out over quite a few videos, but either way, here's the first one. What we're going to do is, first of all, make the grenade. So what we need for that is a grenade texture or picture. So we're going to go on the internet, we're going to go search up hand grenade, and then we're going to go images, and before we do that, go up into settings, advanced search, go to free to use or share even commercially, just in case you do plan on selling this game or whatever you're using these grenades for, or the texture for it anyway. Yeah, just rather be safe than sorry, so gonna go hand grenade World War II, and this one looks fine. This texture, not even a texture, it's just an image. I'm gonna right click, save image as, and I'm gonna go down to my folder for tutorials, and I've already got one saved there. So you can save it in, and then you can move back to Blender and change from the top here to Blender Game, GLSL, scroll along the top bar to move along it, or you can just stretch it out like that. Go into materials, new, specularity down, no back facing, just annoying. New texture, image or movie, UV, and then we're going to go open our image, which is right here. Now I'm going to press N and then click background images, add image, and select this little image in here, bring up the grenades photo, then you won't be able to see anything here. So you press 1 to go into front view, 5 to go into orthographic, and is drag the cube over just by pressing G. Then we're going to scale it down so it's relatively the same size as the grenade picture. I'm going to just roughly model around the outside like this, and until we've got something like so. And then to make our life easier, we're going to press tab to go out of edit mode, and press tab to go into edit mode, and tab to get out of edit mode. Now I'm going to press shift A, add a UV sphere, turn the segments down to 16 and 8 for rings, just for low poly reasons. If you decide to spawn like 2 million of these, it will still lag out your computer, but you'll still be able to spawn a decent amount before it does so. And we do want to keep the poly count down just for good frames per second. Then we're going to press S just to scale it. And this looks too strange. and this looks squished, so SY, we'll round that off a bit. If you haven't noticed, you've got your axes here, X, Y, and Z. You just press S and then one of these directions and it will scale on that axis. But anyway, I think something like that looks good. So with that selected, press Shift and right click the sphere, press Ctrl J, and it should join them together. Then press Smooth or click Smooth and it'll just smooth it off a bit. Yeah, makes it flow together a bit nicer. So now what we're going to do, UV, that's all fine. Go into textured view, and it doesn't look that great. What we're also going to do is change this light just for now to Hemi so we can see what we're modeling. And we're going to select the grenade, press 1, and then Tab, and then press A, deselect everything, A, select everything, and then you unwrap project from view, and you just put your cursor in the top corner and wait till the cross comes up and drag over, and down here change it to UV image editor, change this image to grenades, and then SY and SX to scale it according to the image. And what we don't want is the white edges because they'll just muck it up a bit, so scale it until there's no, well, make it as large as you can without there being any white. You can also adjust these parts here. It will sort of twist the mesh, but I guess it won't really matter. This grenade is going to be moving pretty fast, so highly likely you'll be able to notice that we've been cheating here with the UV unwrapping. But I think that's, oh, just a bit up the top. Where you see pieces of white, you can go into the UV image editor and just keep tweaking it till there's, oh, there's a bit there, which means down on this side. So there we go, that should be fine. You're not going to notice if that's flying at like 5 kilometers past your face. So I'm going to press N and T to get rid of the side menus. Then we're going to hover our mouse over here, join the windows together, and there's our quick grenade done. So we're going to move that to layer 2, and now we're going to add our real explosion. So Shift S, cursor to center, and what we're going to need to do for this is, well, first we need to make the explosion sort of texture. So we're going to open up new Blender file or program. So save this one as, I'm going to save it as grenade tutorial. Save that after you made sure you've saved it, and you can quit that file. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up a new blend file. We're going to press S to scale the default cube. And we're going to press 1, Control Alt 0 to go into front view. Then we're going to press 5 to go into orthographic, or just that's fine, I guess. Scale that up a bit more, or maybe not. Something like that's fine. Then press C to go into wireframe, Shift A, icosphere, and Tab, A to deselect, B to box select, and drag it over the vertices, then X delete vertices, and that should be fine. Move this down a bit, press Shift A, edit plane, scale it, move it down to just below the icosphere. So, yep, that's fine. Now we're going to go along and give the plane a smoke property with collision and a collision property. Drag the dampening and friction up. then we're gonna give the icosphere some particles, so maybe 1500. Random, yeah, start at 1, end at 2, change that to random, even maybe end at 3, turn the random up to like 4 and 10, maybe 2, and then select none and point and uncheck emitter, and maybe under field weights turn the gravity down just a little bit. So now we're going to go back and press play. Should get a nice looking particle simulation. So something like that. So we're going to press Shift F and scroll inwards, and it'll move the camera closer. Now I'm going to select the camera and GZ, move it up a bit, so we can get this looking quite nice. Then we're going to select the plane, give it a material, turn the transparency down to, and the specularity down to nothing, so we can't see it. The next thing what we're going to do is select the domain, the big cube, this one here, give it a smoke property of domain, adaptive smoke domain, dissolve maybe like to 8, 2.2 for verticity. You could turn the scale up a little bit, divisions to 64, and maybe turn down the temperature by just a little bit. Then select the icosphere, give that a smoke property of flow, and particle system, select the particle system, uncheck absolute density, check this, and change that to 1, and press 0, and go back and press P, and we should get a coolish looking effect. Well, yeah, smoke effect. So what we're going to do is select the domain, give this a material, select volume straight away, density down to nothing, turn this to 3, leave that one at 1, if not 0.9 something, emission to 3, and turn that down maybe a little bit. Then select textures, voxel data, select the cube, which is a domain, density, uncheck that one. I'm going to go here, add another texture, voxel data again, cube, and select the one opposite the pre-checked one, so that is emission. What we're going to do here is select colors, then add one notch in, turn the alpha up and change this to yellow, scroll up to make the white slider go up, and get a nice looking color, so something like that. Move that to there, add another one, alpha up, drag it to a nice orangey red, and something like that should look quite nice. What I'm going to do is press F12 to render it out, and it's going to look funny, so we need to go down here and click multiply. Do it again, and it will still look funny. I'm going to just double check. Yep, nope, that's fine. No, so we're going to click the domain, then we're going to turn the scattering up a bit, turn the emission down to 2 maybe, try that again. It's got that funny white edge. Drag that one out, the red one, and There we go. It's looking a bit better. What you might want to also do is add one more. Turn the alpha up, but drag this down to quite a greyish colour. And render that out, see what that does. So it looks okay. Maybe the scattering is a bit too high. So the scattering is pretty much how dark it is, the density is how dense it looks. I'm guessing this is maybe a little bit too dense. Yeah, it's looking a bit nicer. So we're going to actually drag that one down a bit. I think maybe something like that. I'm gonna, don't do this if your computer isn't semi-decent. I'm gonna turn this up. This may lag out your computer a bit. Probably start lagging my one out as well. Yep, there we go. I'm just gonna press pause there. That's enough for me. Press F12. And that's looking quite nice. Just let me try this. So if we turn off emission color, nope. Okay, maybe I'll just turn the emission down on here. So pretty much it's just a matter of tweaking the whole thing until it's looking nice. I'm just going to drag these down completely. This might not happen to you, it just sometimes happens to me. There we go, it's looking a lot better. I think we're just giving it too much space, so it was just completely going nuts on us before. There we go, that's looking quite good. So once you're happy with something like that, then you can, maybe that's a bit too reddish, drag that up a bit. Yeah, something like that's good. Once you're happy with it, then go into the render settings, drag that up to 100%, that's how big the image is going to be. Compression, you may as well give you a smaller file, then shading, transparent, and select RGBA. Then go into your folder. I'm going to do it in my tutorials folder, and I'm going to name it Explosion. Sounds like a relevant name. Then I'm going to start at frame 16, what we're on right now, and frame 16 here. And then I'm going to press render animation. It's going to render out that one frame with alpha behind it, and there we go. It's rendered that out quite nicely. So that's that part done. So you can press quit and open up Blender again if you don't already have it open, and go into your grenade tutorial. Then I'm going to press Shift A, add a plane, S to scale it, add a material, drag the specularity to nothing, no back facing, shadeless, I think, yep, transparency on, and drag the alpha to nothing, click textures, image or movie, UV, and open up the image or explosion you just rendered out. You can rename it if you want to, but most importantly select alpha here, and then press tab, you unwrap, and this will be sort of lopsided. That is because the plane isn't scaled the same way as the image is, because if we go here, then it's yeah, not the same size. So we're going to press SX and make it look sort of similar to the image. So that looks actually, what we could stop ourselves from doing here is you can actually press SX and SY and get as much of the explosion in as small a space as you can. So something like that could work quite nicely. So we're going to press SY just to give it a bit more realism. And that looks good. So we're going to press RX90, then I'm going to press Tab and then Shift D, click RZ. Then we're going to press Shift D to duplicate, RZ again, move it to maybe this view like that, and I'm going to actually scroll along the bottom, click Face Select, and then press Shift D, RZ, and add one more. This means that so that if you look at it from or any angle, if we press P tab to get out of edit mode and P to play, then you should be able to look at it from any angle, and it will give the illusion that it's a three-dimensional object, which it isn't. So that's that part done. What we also want to do before we encounter any other problems is press T and then go origin. Actually no, we want to press Tab and then press A to select everything. Press GZ and move that yellow circle in the middle down to the sort of bottom of the explosion. So where, if it was to spawn on the floor, whereabouts that would be. So yeah, just move that down before we have any problems. We're going to move that to layer 2 now we're done. So the next thing is adding smoke, I guess. So you're going to need GIMP for this. So once you've got GIMP open, select File, New, set it to 750. Oh, don't press enter. File, New, quit that window. 750 by 750, then click OK. So we have a nice big drawing plate. Under color, go color to alpha and press OK. It's automatically white by default, so that should be fine. Under brushes, we're going to select smoke. So that's between the squiggly one and the sun looking one. So we're going to select smoke, and we're going to select smoke. Then we're going to make the brush a lot bigger, so maybe like this big. Yeah, looks fine. And select black to start off with, and just start dotting around like this. This is going to be like the back of it. Then we'll go, should be enough. Then we're going to go and move this up a bit like that. Select dark grey, so not quite black but grey. Then we're going to go over it again, random looking order. Actually, we're going to give this a angle as well, just to give some variation. Then once we've done that, we're going to select even lighter grey, something like this, and we're going to go over that and select an even lighter grey and go over that again. So that looks okay. I might want to add in a few more dark patches here and there. So yeah, something like that looks fine. We're going to export it out as smoke. If you haven't already made one from one of the other tutorials, you could just use that. That'd be fine. I'm going to export it out into tutorials again. It's really handy to export everything out into... No, I don't want to replace it. I'll just call this smoke 1. Yeah, really important you export everything into one folder when you're making a game, so it's easy to access, and then if you do want to move the game onto a flash drive or something, you can just move the entire folder. But yeah, so we're going to press Shift A, add a plane, give it a new material, specularity down, no back facing, transparency on, just the sort of default stuff. We're going to give it image or movie, UV, and we're going to open our image, which is smoke 1, I think. Yeah. I'm going to select alpha, and then I'm going to press tab U unwrap, and it should unwrap the thing quite nicely. And because we added so many layers of it, so starting off dark and getting lighter, it's given a sort of nice randomized gradient. When making this, you probably don't want to draw too much in the middle, sort of let it show through, but this is fine either way. What we're going to do for this is press RX90, and then tab Shift D, click RZ, Shift D, RZ, I think. Sometimes it screws up and it does a weird yellow line thing, and it makes the mesh funny. But yeah, if it is doing that to you, just click and then RZ or whatever. Oh, and Shift D, RZ. I think that should be fine. Then we're going to select these two, well, these two as well. Press Shift D and then RY, 90, and press tab, press P, and that's looking sort of strange-ish. So what we're going to do is, let's see if shadeless works. Still making it look funny. I'm going to go into, press tab, yeah, that's fine. What can sometimes happen is if you're careless like me and forget to leave edges around the texture, then this starts happening and it looks funny. But either way, that's looking fine. I'm going to turn the emit up either way. Something like 0.03, I think. And change this to Fresnel. And actually we're going to delete that face. Nice. Yeah, that will just have to make do. So we can scale that to something like this, I guess. So that looks good. Press tab to go out of edit mode, and then press M to move it to layer 2. And so if we go to layer 2, we should have our explosion, the smoke, and I'm going to press S, Shift Z, scale it outwards, and actually, yeah, that should be okay. And so we've got our explosion, we've got our smoke, and we've got our grenade. Now all we need now is sparks and rubble. So we're going to press Control S and save. Then we're going to close GIMP if you haven't done so already. And we're going to go make some rubble. So Shift S, cursor to center, then Shift A, add a cube, S to scale it, give it a material, no specularity, and then just straight onto the textures, image or movie, UV, and then open up, what are we going to open up? So you're going to have to go onto CG textures and get a nice looking concrete texture. And I've just got this concrete 0309 one. I'm just going to press Tab U Q projection. So that's all of that done for me already. Then I'm going to drag this window in and press T, click Cell Fracture, select Own Vertices, drag this up to, something like that. Noise, turn that up. Random, turn the random up a bit. Margin doesn't really matter. And we're going to just press OK. It's going to do some stuff for us. And then if we go to layer 2, we'll have all these new pieces it's made from the mesh on layer 1. So we're going to press M, move to layer 1. Now if we select, then it'll select the whole mesh, the original one, so we need to press X, delete, making sure the whole cube's selected, not just one piece. So now we should just have the pieces left, and what we're going to do is, with each piece, I guess it doesn't really matter, but we'll get more into the making the rubble work properly afterwards. I think, we'll do that afterwards. So press B, select all of that, and you can just move it back to layer 2. So now there is just the sparks left, and they are pretty easy to make. We're just gonna quickly open up another Blender file. Gonna add in a UV sphere. Press not UV sphere, plane. Sorry. Press 1, press 5, press Control Alt 0, Control Alt 0. Drag this down. X, something like that. I'm going to give it a particle system, just random, and press play. We only want about 100, and we want a random motion of, say, 3. So that looks good. Turn emitter off, change that to point. And actually, we're going to go onto layer 2, Shift A, add a UV sphere, click smooth, new material, shadeless, or just emit value of 2 or something. Give it a good looking sparky color. Something like that. Then select the plane, particle settings, object, and sphere. Select rotation if you want to, random size, and then we should have all of them popping up like this. So if we press F12, then we've got all these sparks everywhere. What we need to do though is, that probably still doesn't look like it's moving or anything, so we're going to go into the node editor. Select Use Nodes, filter vector blur, move that in there. Make sure under scene that you have vector selected. Then the speed thing will pop up. Select that in, select that one in, and if we turn the blur up to 2 and maybe samples to 64, and it'll take a while depending on how fast your computer is, and it should have a result. So if we go into UV image editor, it should have what it has so far, I'm guessing. And if we turn this up to 3, oh, we'll reset the render that out again, and there we go. Maybe that's a little bit too much. I'm going to turn that down to 2.5. Go into 3D view, drag that, we're done with that, and press play. Once you've got a good amount of sparks in view, then you can press F12. We'll render them out like that. I'm not happy though. I want to, you can also drag along the timeline. I want to have them, you want as many down the bottom so you sort of have them streaking along it. To make this easier, we might actually turn that up to 200, 250, 250. So there we go, that's a lot more. And that should work out nicely now. Go into the render settings. What we're going to do is move this down a bit so we don't get sort of nasty looking ones. Frame 49 look good, so I'm going to select 49 here, 49 here. Output folder, just the one before, I'm going to call this Sparks. Render setting up, RGBA, and under shading select transparent, and then click render animation, and it will do all that for you. So now we have some Sparks texture. So we're going to go into our grenade tutorial, or whatever you saved it as, the original file, and press Shift A, edit plane. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to add an icosphere, and we're going to give it a material, no specularity, no transparency, no back facing, and oh, not magic, image or movie, UV, and open up this one. I've already rendered out one, but this one, we'll just use the one we have that we rendered out. So I'm going to press S and then Tab to go into edit mode, and U and sphere projection, and then it's going to project the sparks out in a sphere sort of way. I'm going to select shadeless as well, and going to go into the image or movie and to the sparks and press Tab, and going to press S to scale it, which means there'll be a lot more sparks, and somehow like that looks, I think that looks good. So we're going to select it, the icosphere, and name it Sparks. Then we're going to press M, move to layer 2. Then we're going to press, select the explosion and name it Explosion. Select the smoke, name it Smoke. And select our grenade and move to layer 1.